Hello, everybody. Welcome back to day 4 of Van Morrison Week here on my channel. Has not picked up the traction I was hoping it to pick up. There we go. I'm not gonna fix that. Um, yeah, it's not at all done what I've hoped it was gonna do, but I've got to finish out the week. I'm not gonna give up on the week. But appreciate the few of you that have been commenting and watching. They've not been my greatest success, but anyway, we learn from my failures. Today I am going to talk about a newer Van Morrison album in the collection, number 36 in his discography. It came out in 2016, as you can tell by the thumbnail. It is Keep Me Singing, the again 36th album by Van Morrison, released 9 years ago. Hard to believe it's that old. There's the inside. A little bit better artwork because we don't see Van in tight white pants or tight t-shirts walking with a horse. But this is kind of for me, where I started picking up Van Morrison albums as they were starting to come out new. It's amazing how many albums he's put out since this. I want to say it's probably about 10 or 12 albums since this. That includes a live record. It includes a compilation of tracks that were kind of recorded in the last 15 years or so. A lot of instrumental tracks that he put out. So he's been very prolific. I love Van Morrison. Other than one album that he put out a few years back, there's something good from just about all of his albums. And this one is one of those that I would say took some time. Not because of, topics he was singing about or anything like that. It's just a very slower paced album. And it was kind of a tease because the single that he released from this is the last sung track. The final track is a track called Caledonia Swing, which has showed up in various forms on different Van Morrison records. This is one that he's kind of added a different kind of feel to it. But he released the song as a single called Too Late, which kind of has a similar feel to like Real Real Gone, Tore Down Alarambo, those kind of feel good songs. And it's a really feel good song. It's right there with those tracks in terms of what I consider to be one of Van's better tunes, definitely in the last 20 years. But other than that, everything else is pretty much a mid-tempo, jazzy, bluesy kind of song, which he's done before. But I think I was expecting other songs to sound like Too Late. And again, I'm picking this up. I think it came out in September 2016. So I had just graduated college. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life and pick this album up because I said Van will have the answer for me. He has not given it to me yet, but this is one of those albums that I now adore. I think I've done a couple of Van rankings. It's always been, around the top 10 or, honorable mention, top 15 kind of thing. Very autumnal feel to it. Gorgeous, a gorgeous opening track called Let It Rhyme. Great, harmonica playing on it. I've got some lyrics here. Just that first stanza, he says, "Put another coin in the wishing well. Tell everybody to go to hell. Tell everybody got to go to hell. Let it rhyme. In time, you'll be mine. You'll be mine. Put another coin and make a wish. Put a spell on you and make it stick. Let it rhyme. In time, you'll be mine." And then the kind of the bridge or the middle eight. "Too much water flowing underneath the bridge. Watch the world go by. Contemplate what is." And then he does this kind of not joyful, excuse me, kind of contemplative tune on track 2. "Every time I see a river," he says, "Every time I see a river, every time I hear a train, every time I hear a sad song, it reminds me of what we had then. Every time I see a river, feels like I'm back in love again. I just can't stand the pain. And then he does this great song called Keep Me Singing, which is a little bit more upbeat, but not fully. It's still very mid-tempo. Sings about seeing the old doo-wop group standing on the corner and singing songs, and knowing that he wants to do that with his life. Again, kind of standard Van, keeps with the autobiographical nature and stories from his childhood in that kind of song. And then he does another song for Out in the Cold again, which is one of those lines that shows up in so many different Van Morrison songs. Again, just another beautiful ballad kind of song. Yeah, in between the times where it feels a little bit right, in the dry, in the cold black night, in the early morning dawn. And then he does another song, number 5. It's called Memory Lane. That's very autumnal because he starts and says, it's autumn. It's autumn time going on November. I view the leaves in all their splendor. Is a deja vu, I just can't remember. I stop a while and take in the scene. That's one of the most beautiful songs that he's written. It's a gorgeous tune. Again, the whole song has like great instrumentation, great horns, great strings. Again, great background singers. Like I said, he has on Wavelength, and he just often surrounds himself with such great musicians. Then he kind of does like a bluesy kind of song, like a 12-bar blues. This is probably my least favorite song on the record. The pen is mightier than the sword, which again goes into his whole songwriter kind of feel. He just kind of repeats the whole song. You've got to live by the pen because it's mightier than the sword. He repeats that. Every man is me, every man is you. I can't tell you what you've got to do. You've got to live by the pen. It's mightier than the sword. And then he says, you got to live by the pen. It's mightier than the law. Yeah, just kind of repetitive, bluesy. I'm not a big fan of blues, so. Then he does this like hymn-like song, Holy Guardian Angel. Again, beautiful harmonies on this one. Beautiful stuff. He kind of steals a couple lines from Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, the old African-American spiritual song, where he says, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Excuse me, not Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. It's the song, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows but me. And then he just one of those great build-up kind of Van songs that I love so much. It's fantastic. Skipping ahead a couple. Look Beyond the Hill is another good one. Again, a shorter kind of song. And then he does a song called Going Down to Bangor, which is a harmonica-driven kind of blues song. Again, probably the second least favorite for me on the record. But I still like it because it works with the album. It's got a good kind of flow to it, track listing. But then Too Late, yeah, that's the one, that I'd recommend, that one. And then the song Let It Rhyme and Keep Me Singing for the 3 songs that I'd recommend from this album. But yeah, it's too late. He says, well, it's too late for sorrow, well, it's too late, and it's too late for tomorrow just can't wait. It's great. Again, very autumnal. Took me actually a little bit to get into this record because it's not a fast-paced record. There's not a lot of big hooks or anything like that in the album, but it's constructed well, and the lyrics are really, really solid. Funny enough, this was his last top 10 album. It went to number 9 in the Billboard, and I believe it's his highest charting record in the United States still, and that's of all time, of all of his catalog. So really cool. And that was physical sales. It said I think most of the sales from this were physical. Like the first week, it sold 25,000 copies in the U.S., which is really, really cool. Yeah, I remember seeing this in the store. I remember hearing Too Late. I was really getting into the Van Morrison greatest hits around that time, and so I picked it up. And ever since then, I've always picked up whatever Van was putting out. So there you go. Keep Me Singing, Van Morrison. I highly recommend it. Again, very autumnal. Listen to it with your coffee. Sit on your couch and just take in the lyrics. It's really, really a solid record. So that does it for me. Day 4, we're almost there, and then you don't have to hear me talk about Van Morrison for a long time, hopefully. Um, unless this video blows up, in which case, who knows. But anyway, let me know your comments below. I know this was a later album. It's not known by a lot of people, but I really like it a lot. So that does it for me. In the meantime, y'all be good. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.